Hey guys, Josh here, and today I thought we'd take a look at FansProject's Last Chance, which is based off the Stunticon Dead End. Now, bringing in the original G1 here, you can see that there's a few similarities. While this is based off a Porsche 928 Turbo, this kind of resembles that of a Ferrari Enzo or something very similar to it. Now, while they are both made by different car manufacturers, I do like the decision of FansProject going with this design just because it kind of fits in with the new Stunticons that they are producing. Bringing it over here to the side, you can see that they both sport that nice maroon or burgundy, whichever you prefer to call it, but Last Chance is a little bit deeper in color. And instead of having the stickers for the little stripe that always kind of gets messed up on this guy, this is put on digitally or painted on, or however you want to say it, but it's kind of a metallic gold with a silver stripe there on the side as well. You do have some nice little details, as you can see here, and then all the windows match up pretty well. I could probably do a little bit better on my part, but I think they do a pretty decent job. Now looking at the back, you can see that G1 Dead End doesn't have any tail lights, which is pretty common with G1s back then. But with this guy, you got this nice little detail. I don't even know what to call that. I wouldn't call it a grill because it's on the rear bumper. But you do see some back tail lights with the yellow blinkers. Not that a Stunticon would use them, but you do have the brake lights as well. And that's something that I really enjoy whenever they add that little extra bit of paint. I think it really sets the figure off, and especially as much as you're going to pay for these guys, it definitely needs to be included. I wish they would have done maybe a little bit more here at the front, but we're kind of splitting hairs there. I do have a couple more complaints though. As you can see, original G1, I mean, for what he is, he does roll pretty decent. I'll just put him to the side for right now. The wheels all spin on this guy fine. You can see that you have the little gun. It comes apart, just like the other Stunticons. You could put it down here, somewhere in them, to where you could store it, or here at the tailpipes. So very nicely done there, and it doesn't get in the way, but his crotch does, or his growing, it is kind of extended down there, as you can see. Now, every time I've tried to transform this guy, I kind of even pushed that in and untransformed it, see if there was something that I was missing. Following the directions right down to the T, and even trying to do different things, you can see that he's lifted up a little bit here at the wheel, and yeah, doesn't roll, and it's like that on the other side as well. So he just kind of spins around on his crotch. So that's really the only major problem that I have with this guy. Sometimes, like I said, there's a few problems with things not all lining up properly, but that's probably things from being like overly tight, and over time it'll probably loosen up a little bit more. Giving you guys one more size comparison. Here he is with G1 Sideswipe, so you can kind of see that Sideswipe just a little bit more wider there, and you can see there in length they're pretty much dead on. So, and there they both are, just like that. I'll go ahead and move him to the side, and we'll get this guy transformed. First thing we're going to do is pop out these guns here, and just like all of them, you can, if you can find out which end to put in there, you can put it in there, and you've got his little gun there. Setting that to the side. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. I did this while I was at work, so I was working. Basically, come up with this section right here, and this is why I didn't clip my fingernails, so if that bothers you guys, I apologize. But just so you can kind of get in there, and it's a little tough the first couple of times whenever you transform it, but eventually it'll kind of work it out. Then I kind of just lift these doors and kind of just pop those out. It makes it a little bit easier to get to this part. Otherwise, they're going to be catching on these sides here, and it's going to make it harder. And I definitely didn't want to risk, putting any stress marks here on these doors. But you just fold these out. These will become the legs. Go ahead and separate there, and you got the knees. You can position those however you want. Pull this back. Pull these doors back, kind of untap that there, pull, or not these doors, but these wheels here, and then you can kind of move these up. You can see that they're on a ball joint. Do the same with that, and this back here becomes the heel spurs. Come here, there you go. And there's his legs, and you got quite a bit of posability there. But where it gets a little bit hard, let's see if I can back this up so you can see a little bit better, is in this section right up here. So I'm going to try to make sure that you can see it as best as possible. But we're going to just split here and here, and these arms are a little bit funny. So what you're going to do is it's tabbed in right there. You want to pull that tab out, and as you can see, as you're coming down with the shoulder section here, this section right here will swing up, and you can just bend these out and get them the way that you need. And we'll just go ahead and rotate, and we'll get to that here in a second. So go ahead and untab that section there, and while you are pulling this direction, you're going to come out with that shoulder and then swing this section up, and do the same with this. It took me a couple of times to really get it down, and not that I'm a master at it, but you're going to rotate here at the bicep just so you can get that elbow facing towards you, and as you can see, the fists need to a 180 spin there. And you have to, whenever you transform it or you put it back into his car mode, you need to make sure that you do all those things correctly, otherwise he's not going to fit in there properly. Then with this section here, you're going to have to get his head out, which can be a little bit of a chore on its own. There's this little slider back here that I kind of use to help me out. There we go. And you can see right there, there's that little slider right up under here. So if you can kind of get your thumb on that, just push up just a little bit while kind of pulling this little section up here with your fingernails, it'll help out a bunch. So make sure this is pulled up all the way, because it's not going to come up all the way yet, and if it's not, you're not going to be able to bring this section around properly. Just because these little hinges right here need to fit and fit down into these little grooves here on the side. But with that done, we'll go ahead and spin his head around, and then you can, oh, my bad, pull this all the way up, and then you push his chest in. There you go. And that kind of locks that little neck piece into place, and then you can come around with this section here. And this is what I was talking about earlier. If you can see that, let me focus it in a little bit better for you. These little sections right here, they're going to fit down in top of that. There we go. And if the bottom bumper connects to his little waist piece there, then you have done it correctly. So let me get him posed for you. And this guy's highly posable. I do dig him. This was my favorite Stunticon out of all of them. Just kind of give you a up close look at his face. Nice gold looking face. I like the little blue eyes, or actually they're kind of a little bit purple. But we'll go over articulation. It's pretty much the same with all of them. His head, rotates. It's a little bit hindered here just because of these two parts, but you can get the tilts that you need so you can put them in some nice poses. With the shoulders, you can see that they're on a ball joint. They can kind of go up on that hinge as well, but that's part of transformation. I can rotate here at the bicep. He has double jointed elbows just because of transformation, but still very nice. And the wrist can come undone, but that's really nothing. That's part of transformation. The wrist rotate, and he does have waist swivel, but like I said, whenever you plug this into place, he's not going to have waist swivel. But if you just lift up on it a little bit, you can get a little bit of a turn there at the waist, and just kind of set it back down. It doesn't look too bad. Then with the legs here at the thigh, you have full moving ball joints. You have biceps, or not biceps, thighs that swivel, and quite a bit of posability here in the knee. And the ankles that are on ball joints, get that heel spur out of here. They can move back and forth, can kind of go up and down, or not up and down, but front and back. Sorry, I just got off work. It's been a long day. Probably gone like 23 hours without sleep. And we'll give him his gun, and I think this guy looks incredible. But let's go ahead and get the original G1 transformed as well. How did I do you? I forgot how to do you. I haven't transformed you in so long, dude. Alright, and there he is. So you can kind of see, I'm probably going to pick up repro labels for all these little Stunticons just because They gotta have stickers, man. I think they need stickers. This is another thing that I liked with the design. This is something that you might forget to do. You don't have to pull those wheels in, but you can see that this hollow space in here, it kind of covers that up, which this looks a lot better. So I will put him there. One more size comparison that I will do, since I did it in car mode. I had G1 side swipe, here's G2 side swipe, so you can see that he's quite a bit taller than this guy. And let's go ahead and get him with all his little brethren here, and just kind of get a little group shot of the 4 Stunicons that we have as of now. And there they are. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. And I'm really going to work on trying to get Hexatron done for Friday. But the way that I'm going to break it up is I'm going to have size comparison, or for comparison, G1 6-shot on every single mode. So I'm going to end up having to do some editing, and you guys know I'm not any good with that. So I always try to do things in one take. But anyways, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe if you like my content, and I will talk to you guys later.